Hello! So today I'm resting and I thought let's have a walk on the beach, well, near the beach, and it's amazing here. You see the mountains behind me. On the other side, there's mountains too. It's a really cool place. Honestly, the video is not doing this view justice. It looks awesome in person. Oh my god, guys, we drew Georgia, the #1 seed of the whole tournament here, and we just drew them 2-2. Elena won her game, she beat Bela Khotenashvili, and she did amazing. Yay! Today is round 5 and we are facing Slovenia. I'm back on the team, I'm playing today on port 4 again, and I'm excited. I'm playing against someone my rating, she is slightly higher rated, so I'm very excited for this matchup. And by the way, I'm a little bit concerned about these clouds over here. I don't know what they're doing here, but we'll see, I guess. Wish me luck, and I hope to come back with good news. So today is the rest day, and everyone has a day off, and some people went to an excursion, some people just stayed in their hotel room like me, and that is why I am now recording the recap instead of yesterday, because I got pretty tired yesterday, and yeah, it was a long game. As I mentioned, we were playing Slovenia, and I had a pretty tough game. Let me show you what happened. So in this game, I was playing against Barbara Skuhala. I'm so sorry, I'm not good with names, but I was playing with black pieces, and I expected her to play e4. So the French was on the board, d4, d5, knight c3, knight f6, and she plays this bishop g5 line. Quite a lot. Also, we played a few games online, so it was really fun to see back that we actually played online. I just double checked, and yeah, apparently we played online. I had a plus score of 3 wins, and she won once against me, so I was pretty confident about my chances. But okay, this is classical. It's an entirely different game compared to Blitz, so can't expect anything based on that. So okay, I played d takes e4 here, knight takes e4, knight bd7, so this is the Rubinstein variant in the French opening, knight f3, and h6. This is all main moves. She took on f6, so this is check, so you have to take back here. Bishop takes f6, so this move is a little bit unusual because you're giving up the bishop pair pretty quickly. So instead, main moves are bishop h4 or bishop e3, and I was expecting that to happen, but she took an f6, so I have a feeling that she may have thought I was going to play a different line, which is a big reason why I went for this main line anyways, because I haven't played this line in a long time over the board, and my coach urged me that it's a good idea to go for this. You may have a really boring position, not very dynamic, but he said that my coach said that it was going to be much better for me and I'd have much better chances there probably than going into some sort of prep. So yeah, this line is very healthy to play, it's very equal, and that's exactly what you want to reach with the black pieces. So yeah, it makes perfect sense for me to go to this line. Knight e5 was played, and here I was pretty much already out of book. I pretty much considered this line to be good for me. I have the pair of bishops, and it's like a dream position. Well, not quite yet, because I'm still stuck with the bishop on c8, but we'll get to that. So bishop d6 is what I played, attacking the knight, and she played queen e2, which is a little bit of an awkward move because it blocks the bishop. Usually the bishop wants to go to d3, but if you look closely at the position, where does the knight actually go? I was thinking maybe knight c4 could be interesting, but I disregarded this move because, well, first of all, I can just castle, and I may give up the pair of bishops, but I have simply a better position because I'm ahead in development with the black pieces, which is unheard of, and yeah, it's just wasting a lot of time. This knight has been moving around quite a bit, so there's no point in moving it to c4. And yeah, if the knight goes back, it didn't go. It went to e5 for no reason. So that's why after queen e2, I mean, this makes sense when you look at the options that white has. And because of this move, I knew that okay, my opponent's going to play g3 and bishop g2 and develop the bishop there. So I played short castle, simply developing g3 was played, and here I played c5, attacking the central pawn, which this is one of the main moves in the French, especially this line. So long castle was played, and here I took on d4. I was really happy because, well, I'm taking a free pawn. She's not able to capture back because her knight is hanging. So this is why she played move f4. And yeah, I saw this coming, but I also thought that there's no way that white is doing any good here. It feels like white did something really wrong in the opening, and as you can see from the time difference on the clock, I was also feeling very confident. So I thought the opening was a success. But now in this position, what do you actually do? Because you have a pair of bishops, but your bishop is still stuck on c8. The pawn on d4, you can't defend with bishop c5, but it just takes so much time. And you really need to do something about the bishop on c8, because soon bishop g2 will be played and my bishop cannot leave the pawn on b7 alone. So that's why I thought I have to take on e5, and which is apparently the best move in the position, so that's great. F takes e5 and queen g5 check. Part of me really wanted to have an endgame, so I was really happy if this was going to be played, but unfortunately my opponent did not play this, which makes perfect sense, but I was still very hopeful. But okay, she took with a pawn, I gave a check, and here I went for rook d8, which is apparently not a great move. So the reason why I did this move is because, well, I want to defend this pawn, of course, on d4, and yeah, I didn't really see what else. I did consider move f6, because it's one of the most common moves in the French. So after pawn takes, I would have taken the queen, and this way I'm defending the pawn and preparing e5 and getting the bishop out at some point. But the reason why I didn't like this whatsoever is because I'm opening the f-file for my opponent. So a rook will appear on the f-file, and since my development has not been finished yet, and my pawns in the center are actually pretty weak, I didn't really like this. I didn't want to go for this whatsoever. So yeah, I thought this was giving my opponent many chances, and my light squares around my king are super weak. So you can already imagine queen e4, bishop d3, and yeah, it doesn't look great. So that's why I went for the move rook d1. Apparently I was supposed to play bishop d7, which is another move I did consider, of course, because after rook takes c4, I have bishop c6, and I have the bishop developed really easily, and I'm attacking the rook, so white has to be careful here. However, what I didn't like about bishop d7 was that my opponent could play bishop g2, so attacking the pawn on b7, and if bishop c6, then bishop takes c6, and it feels like my position is just not great at all, a lot of weaknesses, these pawns are terrible, and my opponent is just activating the pieces really easily. So that's why I didn't like this at all. Apparently I could have just played rook d8 and sacrificed the pawn over here, but I just didn't like that this pawn was super weak, and if I lose b7, I'm not ahead of pawn anymore. And yeah, I didn't really see what the future was for me in this position. And that's why I didn't like this, and I just wanted to play rook d8, because yeah, if the bishop is going to g2 anyway, might as well just take it easy. However, what I didn't evaluate properly was the strength of this move h4. So my opponent plays move h4, and I wouldn't call it shock, but it's more like I did not see this coming whatsoever. I thought, you know, I'm up a pawn, I'm fine. If bishop g2, I'll simply just develop my pieces, and slowly but surely I'll get there. Well, not bishop d7, by the way, because my poor pawn on d4 still needs protection. But yeah, I thought I would just take it easy and develop my pieces slowly. I'm up a pawn, so everything is fine. But then my opponent played h4, and I was, you know, pretty surprised, because now I'm given the choice, do I take on g3 or not? And you will see now, so I have 58 minutes on the clock, and I spend almost 25 minutes on queen takes g3. In the end, I decided to just take the pawn and face the consequences, because I thought, well, if I don't try, and if I just play queen e7, I'm just going to get hit by g4, g5, h5. and I will face those pawns anyway. By the way, queen e4 is apparently slightly better, but okay, that's outside of the fact that my position is just not great here. And yeah, I just didn't like going for this at all. Queen takes g3 is the reason, this is the reason why I played queen takes g3, because I couldn't just go for a passive play and might as well just take that pawn and see what happens, because I couldn't see an immediate threat or that I would be losing the queen very soon. Of course, I see some dangerous ideas, but I thought, like, I'll deal with it. I'll handle it in some way, and hopefully I get to develop my pieces somehow. So she played move rook d3, queen f4, and okay, as you can see on the clocks, I'm lower on the clock now, even though I had such a huge time advantage earlier in the game. Now it gets really tricky. So here I played with queen g4, which makes a lot of sense, right? Your queen is under attack by the rook, so you move your queen to the only square that is available to your queen. But apparently I should have played, there was only one move that would maintain the position, not any sort of advantage, because I'm up 2 pawns, so you would say that maybe I'll have an advantage, but no, there's no advantage. I had to play the move d3. So the idea behind this move is that I am trying to distract my opponent from attacking me. I did consider this very briefly during the game, but I did not see any use of playing this. So, for example, after this capture, bishop takes, and we're just in an endgame where I'm up a pawn, no attack on my king, and I can just develop my bishop safely and continue from here. However, after the move d3, so for example, c takes c3 is the most logical response because you want to keep the rook attacking the queen. And here, apparently, black is just doing fine. So imagine queen f2 would have been played, then you can start playing queen d4, and this is why you had to clear up that square d4 where the pawn was previously. You're attacking the pawn, you're threatening to trade queens, and one way or the other you're getting back. It's actually crazy. But yeah, apparently this was the way, and I did not think that this was super necessary. So after queen g3, which is a logical move, you play rook d5, and you're just getting that pawn basically. And if not for that pawn, you can start attacking yourself on the queen side. So yeah, this is why d3 is so good. But I did not think that d3 was good whatsoever, or I didn't see the use of it. But yeah, apparently it was very necessary, because after queen g4, I started to get in trouble. And my opponent played the one correct move, queen f2. And I did see this move, but I did not consider it to be that good. Especially because white is not really threatening anything right now. You would say that, okay, there's a pawn hanging, but if white takes that, then there's a checkmate. So I was really happy that, you know, at least that is in the position. But as I'm calculating and calculating and calculating, I realized that my queen does not have any squares, and if I leave my queen to e4, I will get this on my roof at some point. So yeah, my queen is basically in danger. I didn't really quite realize that it was so bad. So anyways, I went for queen h5. After a long thought, I didn't want to face rook g1 immediately. I wanted to sort of try to trick my opponent into making moves in the wrong order. So I'm threatening to take that pawn. If I take that pawn, I will be able to handle the position much better. But of course, I have to be careful of rook takes f7, because once that rook's on the 7th rank, I am done for. So bishop d3 is what it is, what was played. I thought maybe bishop e2 was really dangerous, because yeah, there's all sorts of tricks in position with rook g1. Let me show you an example line that I was thinking about. Let's say bishop d7, because I want to develop rook g1, and here there was already a threat. So imagine I'm not taking that pawn on e5, but I just continue my development. Then rook takes g7, king takes, and rook g3. So this way you're basically setting up that discovery check, and that's why I thought that bishop e2 was so powerful, and I was not entirely sure what to do about that. But when my opponent played bishop d3, I was slightly relieved, but okay, there's of course still a trouble in paradise. Bishop d7 is what I played, rook g1, and here I just went back to e8, because yeah, if I ever were to play g6, at least my bishop is defending that, and the bishop is now also covering f7, so all of those important squares are defended. But is it enough? So here my opponent actually made a huge mistake. She went for the move rook fg3, and this is the moment that I started to get chances. So the move that she had to play here was queen g3 to, of course, threaten checkmate, but also defend that pawn on e5. And I'm guessing that she wasn't seeing what to do after g6 because, okay, my next moves are rook d5, taking that pawn, and somehow get back in the game. And it's very difficult to see how this is actually, how white can win this and defend this pawn. But apparently you just put the queen on f6. So let's say rook d5. And here you are already threatening rook takes g6. Oh, that went wrong. So you can just play this. Some crazy stuff. And this is first checkmate. I mean, I don't know. This is some crazy stuff. But yeah, I can simply not avoid the checkmate. And the rook is coming in and it's just over. It's just over. So this is what she missed, and I mean it makes a lot of sense because I was really hoping that I could somehow survive this. But yeah, she played the move rook fg3 instead. And here I was really happy to take here. So of course I can consider to play g6, but then I thought that queen f6 would have been really dangerous for me, so I had to take that pawn off the board. And if she takes on g7 and trades down to an endgame where I have two rooks and she has a queen, I thought that I can maybe somehow hold the draw here or something. Like I have two rooks, I have some pawns still, so I thought that I may still survive this. Or maybe even get some winning chance somewhere, you never know. So instead, she played rook e1. So she wanted to pursue the attack, which makes a lot of sense. I played queen h5, and here I gave her another chance to attack me because, well, we're both in sort of time trouble. Okay, I have 2 minutes, it's not super dangerous yet, but I started to get really nervous. This is move 24, so still a lot of moves ahead of us with little time, like clock. So yeah, I didn't really know where to move my queen to, so I thought that I just go back to h5 and pray and see what happens, because I wanted to play g6 and make sure that I hold everything down there with my queen and bishop protecting. So she played this move, of course, g6, and here she made the final mistake, rook f1. This is the moment that her attack is just done. There's no threat in the position, and she is just giving me moves to develop. So the moves that she had to play here, apparently, so the entry is suggesting some crazy moves. From b3 to king c1 to a3 and a4. I don't know. Do not ask me why, but it's pretty crazy. I'm guessing that the threat queen d1 is still in the position, so you want to try to prevent this by giving your king some luft, and then maybe some rook e5 move could be very annoying to deal with. But instead, I mean, rook f1 was played. It makes very much sense that she went for this, but now I play rook d7, and basically I'm not scared of any sort of sacrifice here, because after queen f8 check, everything is protected. Magically enough, everything is protected, and the reason why I played rook d7 is that there is no rook f7 possible. So after this, she played rook g2, and I started to develop. Finally, my rook got out. a3 was played, which was unfortunately for her a little late, but here I got to play king h7. Now my king is also protecting this, and slowly but surely I started to get my advantage back and survive the attack. So here I offered to trade the queens. Of course she denies it, but now, so as you can see, I'm up 3 pawns. So all I need to do is make sure that I don't get checkmated and just kick the queen away out of here. So here I play f5, and here the attack is pretty much over. The game still goes on, because you may think like, okay, you're up 3 pawns, should be fine, right? Well, okay, as you can see on the clocks, we're both in time trouble, so a lot of crazy stuff happens here. h5, and I'm just pushing the pawns forward, but as I'm doing that, I'm also weakening a lot of squares around my king. So here I play f4, and it starts to get a little dangerous here. So as you can see, this queen, as soon as it enters on d7, I'm in trouble. So this g-file is super weak, and for example, imagine she played any move, let's say king here. If I move my bishop, I'm checkmated, which is crazy. Like, imagine just losing like that when you're up 3 pawns. So there were definitely so many threats still left in the position, which is why I had to take it very easy and make sure that I don't blunder, because I was just seeing myself blunder this still, and it was very stressful to figure out what to do and how to not lose this game. But okay, I tried to play as safe as possible, make sure that my opponent cannot entry any of the squares in my half of the board. So I play rook g7, queen h1, another threat coming up here with rook h5, and she wants to take that pawn on h6, so I play f3. And here I just go to f4, simply protecting the pawn again. And here rook g4. By the way, let me check. There was some line. There are some lines that could be possible with like some sort of sacrifices, but all of it is covered and everything is fine. But I do have to be careful. So yeah, there are some lines where white can take on e4 and, you know, win some material somehow, but I try to not allow any of those. And if that were to happen, then I have an passed pawn over here that is just going to run down the board. And yeah, here rook e5, rook g1, and here, so I'm basically sacrificing the bishop. If she were to take this, then I'm just going to run with the pawn, and she can't stop my pawns anymore. So yeah, this is one of those lines she could have played, but of course she didn't because it's completely lost. She plays bishop c4, which is actually quite a really annoying move because now the bishop is back into the game, and it's going to give me a check here. As you can see, king has to go to h6. Well, it also could have gone to g7, but I thought this was a little safer. Queen h2, e2, and after king a2, I could finally promote. It was still a little bit scary because there's all sorts of tricks still. There's a check here, and if you were to play the wrong move, okay, I thought maybe I could run into some issues. Oh yeah, after rook a6, this is a repetition. Imagine being up a rook and 2 pawns and still being able to face repetition. So this is a repetition because I am not able to get out of this. So this is a final opportunity for my opponent to trick me. She played the move queen b8, which has a similar idea. Well, actually, she's just threatening checkmate in 1. And after a few minutes, I thought, I am sick of this queen and I'd like to get it off the board. So when I played this move, I mean, I could have played many other moves like queen f6 of some sort, but I just wanted to trade off this queen off the board. And when my opponent saw this, she of course thought that, what? Like, just a free queen, right? She was reaching for the queen, and then she realized, yeah, bishop e6 is my next move. I'm trading the queens, essentially losing the bishop, but I'm up material and I'm just going to win the game regardless. So after queen takes g8, this would have happened. It's a check, so she has to take, and after rook takes, I'm just going to promote my pawn very soon. So that was my game. It was an insane game. It was really tense, and I really thought I was going to lose this. Like in the middle game, I definitely messed it up somewhere. It was really difficult for me to play because I just thought I had a great position, but her attack was so difficult to deal with. She did a really good job there, but fortunately I was able to survive, and yeah, it was just a crazy game altogether. She played really well. But I did tell my coach that in Blitz I have good chances. And my coach was like, yeah, this is a classical, so it doesn't matter. But as we were both in time trouble, I did feel like I outplayed her, and that made me feel really happy. So afterwards I was like, yeah, I told you, right? I told you, coach. That was really funny. But all in all, this game was actually the decider of the match. So the rest of the boards ended in a draw. So this game was the decider. And that means that we won against Slovenia 2.5, 1.5. And that made me even more happy because, okay, winning a game like this is just amazing. I was still a little bit, you know, it was not a clean game, of course. So I'd like to have a clean game. But winning like this is, of course, amazing. And we take those. We take those, and especially now that I've won for the team, it makes me feel even happier. So yeah, it's a great feeling to go into the rest day. I'm going to enjoy the beautiful weather of Budva as I still have the day ahead of me. And yeah, I am really curious what we will do against France tomorrow. We're playing France. I'm not sure if I'm playing just yet, and I guess we will see. But for now, wish us luck and hope to see you in the next one.